What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, I just want to do a trade recap on a Microsoft swing trade that I did end up closing today, realizing about a 50% profit. On this trade, I used again the break and retest strategy that I talk about so much on this channel. Saw it on the daily chart and the 4-hour chart, used that longer term analysis and the break and retest setup to find my entry. You guys know I talk about this strategy quite a bit. Something that I use for both short-term scalp trades, day trades, as well as swing trades. And I just want to give you another example of how to find this setup in the market and how you can take advantage of it in your trading. If you guys enjoyed today's video after watching the recap, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers, and I promise we're going to do a pretty awesome giveaway at 50,000. So help me get there, and I'll definitely give back to you guys for supporting the channel thus far. So how about that chop on the market today? Today was a very boring day for me, guys. Basically, all I did was unload some of the swing trades that I have on the portfolio, de-risk my portfolio so that I can come into Friday pretty much cash and just sort of look for some scalp trades once again. Took advantage of that very nice upside over the last few days, definitely on Microsoft and some of the past swing trades that I've made on this video, Tesla and Nvidia. I did close Microsoft today. I took a small loser on Target, which I'll share with you guys here in this video. And then I also squeaked out about a break-even trade on Tesla. And I'm currently still holding some Shopify leaps for January 2024. Those aren't going anywhere. Those are going to stay in the portfolio. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart here, guys. This is Microsoft. And let's break down how I found this trade. Here on Microsoft, the analysis started on the daily chart. The daily chart is something I like to look for my longer term trades that I think have a little bit more momentum, that can sort of something I can hold for maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days, etc. Daily chart, 4-hour, and sometimes I'll look at the 1 hour just to give myself a little bit more confirmation. So daily chart is really where I like this setup, and the 4-hour chart confirmed it even more for me. On the daily chart, you guys are looking at the green line, which is the 100 SMA, and you're looking at the Microsoft price action. You guys can see over the last few days, from the 27th, 28th, 29th, and right here on the 1st of August, we broke above a very important previous support on Microsoft. We had a previous support here on Microsoft, right here. Right here, you guys can see how this supply was, or this previous demand was definitely an important level, which turned into supply right here back in May. So we had a previous support. This is a demand zone that turned into a rejection after we broke down, we pushed back into it, and we rejected off that level. So right there back in May, that could have been a great trade in itself. We could have taken a break and retest to the downside, previous demand turning into supply. In this scenario, now that Microsoft is above that supply and we are now breaking above it, I am looking for that pullback to prove to me that that supply is now going to turn into demand. I am not chasing the breakout, trying to trade the breakout. I want to see the breakout. I want that to give me that confirmation that there is strength here, and then my entry is going to be on the pullback and the support at the previous supply. So you guys can see right here, we had a push through this supply back into it, and we held it beautifully on a break and retest. Not only did we have the retest hold, but we also had the 100 SMA holding that market higher, holding that Microsoft move higher, and that right there was a cherry on top for me to go ahead and take this trade. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you can see how this is even cleaner. Here on the 4-hour chart, if we just look at the last few weeks of price action, you guys can see right here, we had previous supply right here around 276, 275, right in this general zone. You can see right there, nice little general zone of supply. And then when we came into it, we broke above it. The trade entry, you could scalp the breakout. I do not like to do that. I like to wait for it to pull back, show me that it's going to try to hold, and then push to the upside. A little key that I want to show you guys, you can see how the 100 SMA on the 4-hour is not near that price action. That's because the 100 SMA on the 4-hour and the daily chart are different. We want to make sure that we change this to the daily SMA. So what we do on Thinkorswim is we go to daily SMA, we pop that in our studies, and we change this to the 100. So now, no matter what time frame we're on, we are looking at the daily 100 SMA. That is very important. That is something that I like to have on my charts. Just recently added that now that a lot of stocks are trading near their daily chart 100 SMA. So if I apply that, now you can see on the 4-hour, we have that daily chart SMA, and we can see that right there as Microsoft started to pull back, as it started to retest that previous supply level. It started to hold it as a demand, and this is the trade that I took right out of this 4-hour flag. So here in the Discord chat, guys, where I post all of my trades, here is where I went ahead and entered. I said taking a Microsoft August 19th 275 call, and I like it with a stop under that 272 level. That was the low of day back on the 2nd of August. I did not want to see Microsoft break back the low of day of that day. I didn't want to see it break back below that low of day. Looking to play this break and retest of previous resistance in late May, using today's lows as my stop. It is also holding the 100 SMA as support. Now, as always, when I post a trade in the Discord chat, I am always updating you guys on my thesis, on my ideas. And you can see here I send an update up 25%, no plans of selling, no change to the thesis. I still like the trade. Here I send another update, right? Still liking the Microsoft trade, supported the 100 SMA and the retest zone. So always updating on what I'm doing here. Right here, back yesterday, I took half off of my position, about a 50% win, took that half off. And then if I go down, here is where I went ahead and exited. Right here today, I went ahead and exited Microsoft for about $10.10 per contract. And I will now go ahead and jump into TradeZella, where I can show you guys the entire details of this position. So guys, we are now in TradeZella, and we can sort of break down everything about the trade, break down the statistics of the position, and go through everything that you may be wondering. So here on Microsoft, you can see that I took a August 19th 275 call, and I took it 10 contracts, and I took them at, if I scroll down, I took them at $6.18. I'll go ahead and zoom in here so we can see this a little bit better. $6.18, 10 contracts, the 275 August 19th calls. Now, you might be wondering, why did I take the August 19th? Why not take something shorter expiration? When I enter a swing trade, I always want to give it time. I want to feel like I can give something a little bit of time. I don't want to have that short expiration volatility. So I like to get at least 2 weeks. If it's something that I think can work out over a week period, sometimes I will even get at least a month out, at least 30 days until expiration. I never like to swing trade weekly contracts, so I am always looking for the monthly contracts, the monthly contract of the next month. So in this case, if I thought Microsoft could continue, I would have taken the September monthly contracts. In this case, that I just took the 2 weeks out, I felt like Microsoft was going to have a sudden move to the upside off that break and retest, and I didn't really think that I wanted to hold it much longer after seeing how much the market has already sort of ran. So I thought, okay, this might be maybe a 1 to 2 day trade, and I think I'll get my best ROI on a 2 week out contract, not trading the weeklies with that volatility, giving myself at least 14 days until expiration. That is always a minimum in my eyes for a swing trade. I took the 275 calls, which were right about at the money when I opened the position. With a 275 call at the money, the delta on this position is 50 cents. That's usually what the delta is, 0.5. So that means for every $1 that Microsoft went against me or for me, I would gain $50 per contract. In this contract, I had 10 contracts. So every dollar that Microsoft dropped, that means I would lose $500. So using that knowledge, we can actually go ahead and calculate roughly what my risk would have been on this position. So with 10 contracts at 618, I got in when the stock was trading at the money, so $275. My risk was the low of day, which was about $2 lower. So in that position, I'm risking about a point per contract. That means about $100 per contract. And that means on this position, I was risking just about $1,000 if this was to go against me. So if I go ahead and go back up, I'm risking a point per contract, so that means about 518 per contract is where I would have been stopped out. This is a rough estimate. This is sort of how you can estimate your overall risk, and you guys can see right there, if I put in 518 in TradeZella, you can see my overall risk here was about $1,000. Again, how did I calculate that overall risk? When you take an at-the-money contract, the delta is typically 50 cents or 0.5. 0.5 per contract. That means it's about $50 per contract that you own. In this situation, I had 10 contracts, so that means every point that the stock went down, I was risking $500. So in this situation, I had about a 2-point stop, around 273. That means that I am risking about $1 per contract, and that means that I am risking about $1,000. I'm sorry if that doesn't make sense to some beginners out there, but that is typically how you will estimate what your overall risk on the position would be. So you can see my ROI, or my R multiple on this trade, was about a 3.2 R, which is a very nice risk reward or risk return, risk adjusted return on this position. So you guys can see, here's my entry. This was back on August 2nd. I scaled out on August 3rd, as you guys saw in the Discord, and then I scaled out today, closing that position up on August 4th for a very nice trade. $3,200, 52%, 3.2 RR, and you can see about $1,000 as risk. Pretty much was flat over the first few hours of the trade, and then this thing started to run for us as the break and retest started to work. Here are my scale outs. Here's everything that you can go sort of ahead and analyze in TradeZella. So shout out to TradeZella for this awesome tool. I definitely enjoy using it and sort of looking back at my trades and analyzing what I did or what I could have done better. So guys, that's really all I wanted to do in this video. Just wanted to break down here on the chart. You can see it once again, the gorgeous break and retest on your screen. That is what I look for on a daily basis, looking for where a stock breaks an important supply to the upside and starts to come back to test it as support. If it starts to turn that supply into demand, I am looking to go long. This is the area where I have the best risk to reward because I am getting in with an easy stop loss. If the stock drops back below that supply, I'm out of the trade. I have a strict stop. And if we get that bounce, as you typically do on a break and retest, you don't always get it, but in this situation, you can see it worked very nicely, along with the very strong market that we saw over the last few days. I want to go ahead and just share with you guys target. This was one trade that I did take. I took a very small loser on this trade. I want to share with you why I took this position. The reason I took this position, which I think I had my levels just a little bit off, you can see right here that target had a supply level up to around $168. This was the supply zone that I've been watching for quite a while. And you can see back on Tuesday of this week, we had a clear rejection at 260 or 168. You can see we had that triple top at 168 intraday on Monday, and then we went ahead and failed it. Yesterday, on Wednesday, we got back above it, and if I zoom in here, you can see that right here we had a little break and retest intraday of 168. After seeing that, I wanted to put some size on this position. I kept it small, but I wanted to put some risk on there. So I did get in here around the 168 retest for a swing trade into the next day, and I told the group, if target gets back below 168, I am out of this trade. I need to see target stay above 168, where the previous supply was. I'm seeing a break and retest on the intraday. That gives me a little bit of insight to get a starter position here, and that is what I did. But you guys can see today, when we opened, we started to reject 168 at the open. When I started to see that, I left, I fled the scene, I got out of the position, and that is the loss that I took. Very small. It gives you a very defined risk to reward, very defined risk target to make sure that you are not bag holding a position. I wanted the 168 level to hold. That was my trade plan off the break and retest. If it holds 168, I am in this position. If not, I am out and I take my loser. So I just wanted to share with you guys that to end this video. Losing trade on target from yesterday into today, was looking for the 168 break and retest, did not get it, did not hold, got out, and I just sort of left the trade. You can see the rest of the day we sort of slipped, so it was a good decision to go ahead and get out of that trade. Target is now trading back under that supply, and this is no longer a valid trade break and retest trade setup. So guys, that's all that I had for you in today's video. If you enjoyed it, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, help me get to 50,000 subs, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.